we move on to talk about some of the top soccer headlines going on in the soccer world, and we will start off with we'll start off with Mikel Merino. Mikel Merino, him and or his, Real Sociedad and Arsenal are in talks, are still working on a deal after their initial bid was rejected by Real Sociedad. Arsenal are in talks. Mikel Merino, he was part of Spain's European Championship team. The 28-year-old is wants the move to happen. He's keen on the move. As they say in Britain, with Mikel Merino, he only has a year left on his Sociedad contract, which does make this deal a little bit easier for Arsenal. And is agreement on personal terms is not to be a problem. It's just whether or not Real Sociedad and Arsenal they could agree on a deal. I think Mikel Merino, he could be a good sort of balance in terms of playing alongside Declan Rice and Odegaard. I think he does a little bit of, he's number one, he's 6'2", so he has that physical nature to him, and he can be part of a team that can control possession. He's very good on the ball, as most Spanish players are. He also has that ability to be a threat on set pieces. He got the goal against Germany on a game-winning goal following a late run into the box. Which is what Merino is very efficient as. He does make good late runs into the box, and he gets on the end of things because of the height. I think Mikel Merino, he could be a great sort of addition for Arsenal. He's he's first in duels won, which he can give you that defensive presence that Declan Rice is a little bit weak at. He's 7th in terms of tackles. He's 2nd in La Liga in terms of aerial battles won. He's very good in terms of winning the ball in the midfield. He's 5th, so he provides that sort of ability. And yeah, he could be a very, very good player for Arsenal. I think he fits well alongside Declan Rice and Odegaard. He's also not going to be crazy expensive in the fact that he's not a 19-year-old. He's a 28-year-old player. He's 1 year left on his deal, so you could get him at some sort of deal if you're Arsenal. So yeah, I think he could be a great player, a great addition for Arsenal. Manchester City's Oscar Bob has broken a bone in his leg before this upcoming season, and he's set to miss the start of the season after suffering the bone break in the leg. He suffered this injury during training on Wednesday. He was trying to turn. There was no other player involved. It was kind of a non-contract injury. He's going to undergo further assessments before they make a decision on what is needed for his rehab. He's not going to need surgery, in the fact that it's a bone injury. More likely than not, he's going to miss some of City's opening Premier League games. And, it is actually a blow for Manchester City in the fact that he was really good during preseason, during the Community Shield as well. He actually helped set up the equalizer for Bernardo Silva as well. So I think with now Julian Alvarez also not being involved, it does make them a little bit more weaker in terms of attacking position. And Oscar Bob, he's actually been play a little bit more of a bigger role for Manchester City after the sort of development that he's shown over this past season and the summer. So it's bad news for Manchester City, but not life-changing news. And they've managed worse injuries than Oscar Bob. But I still think Oscar Bob is a good player. Now this is a little bit more of a serious note. The father of Lamine Yamal, 17-year-old Lamine Yamal, he's been hospitalized after being stabbed in a parking lot near Barcelona. According to multiple reports in Spain, there's been a few arrests that happened with Spanish sources or Spanish investigators investigating this, and it's a terrible story. He's considered unstable, but critical condition. We all hope and pray for the best for Lamine Yamal and his family and his father, of course, especially. And we all hope that everything goes well. It's really a suffering situation. You know, Lamine Yamal's father, he's been involved extremely, been a lot of his games, heavily influencing Lamine Yamal. We've heard the stories, and it's just sort of devastating. This sort of thing happening. You know, we just hope the criminals are to pay for their actions, and we hope everything the best for Lamine Yamal, his family, his father, of course. So, from GSMC, from the GSMC network, we send our well wishes to the entire family. Wojciech Szczesny, I always mess up his name. Szczesny has left Juventus after they've reached a mutual agreement to terminate the contract. Juventus announced this on Wednesday. He spent 7 very, very good years at Juventus and had 1 year left on his contract. But with Thiago Motta coming in, and Juventus, they're kind of pushing out a group of players. One of those players happened to be Weston McKennie as well. But Wojciech Szczesny, he's able to leave. He's going to be leaving on mutual agreement, and now he's linked with some Saudi Pro League teams like Al Nassr, also Serie A club Monza. So Szczesny is going to be interesting to see his next move, and he had a pretty good European Championship as well. So we'll see. Marco Reus, ex-Borussia Dortmund star, is going to be signing with LA Galaxy. They're going to be able to sign the 3-time Bundesliga Player of the Year, Marco Reus, the 35-year-old. He was out of contract this summer, and he announced that he was leaving Borussia Dortmund. He played his final game in the Champions League final against Real Madrid. But now Marco Reus, he's going to be playing in La Liga. In LA Galaxy, for a pretty good team. They're a title contender this season. He joins the likes of players like Gabriel Peck, Joseph Penstil, Dejan Jovelic, and Ricky Pio. Galaxy, they can have a good attacking, set of players, set of talent, and we'll see if that sort of, they can make the next move in terms of competing. Chicago Fire and Xherdan Shaqiri have agreed to a contract termination after a pretty disappointing spell for Xherdan Shaqiri at Chicago Fire. The Chicago Fire, they announced this on Wednesday. Shaqiri, he joined the Chicago Fire from Lyon in 2022. It was a record fee of $7.5 million, and he was the top earner in the MLS with $8.15 million at the time. Since then, he's been beaten by Messi, Busquets, and Lorenzo Insigne. But yes, they have Chicago Fire and Xherdan Shaqiri have both mutually agreed to this sort of termination. It wasn't right for Shaqiri. He said, "I believe this is the right time for me to explore new opportunities in my career. I want to thank the club and fans for their support during my time in Chicago. I wish the Fire nothing but success moving forward." That's the end. That's all we got for y'all today. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the GSMC Soccer Podcast presented by the GSMC Sport Network. Your support means a lot to us. So please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. So thank you guys once again, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day.